KRFO interview with Owatonna's Abigail Hansen, who had a chance to do, well, just a real unique event very recently here this summer. Abigail, tell me where you were and why you were there.
Sure. I was in Mobile, Alabama for 2.5 weeks representing the state of Minnesota as Distinguished Young Woman.
Now, how do you qualify for that? How do you earn that honor? And quite an honor.
Yes, it was. Yes, a really amazing opportunity. So I started off at the local level, and I competed locally and then went on to state and won the state title, and that made me the representative. But there were lots of people and organizations that helped me prep along the way, and the most prep definitely happened for nationals, getting ready for the fitness routine and getting my talent into shape and preparing for all of the categories.
Distinguished Young Woman, name of kind of the organization and the title. So what is it that you do on a local and a statewide level? What kind of things are they, are you required to do to qualify and
Sure.
win a contest against others?
Yeah. So the program is based on 5 different categories. Self-expression, which is answering a question on the spot on stage and presenting ourselves well. And then an interview, which is with the panel of judges, and they get 10 minutes with us to ask us whatever they would like. And it can be about policies that are happening right now in politics or anything. There have been a lot of questions about our president, or they could be things about ourselves, what we want to do, or things that we have done. So that's interview. And then fitness, which is just making sure that we're well-rounded individuals and that we're, keeping ourselves healthy. And then talent. So we each have 90 seconds to perform our talent on stage, which is not very long, especially coming from a musician who is used to having, half an hour on stage instead of closer to 30 seconds. So, 90 seconds is not very long, but that's one of my favorite categories. And then finally, what haven't I said?
Would academics be the other one?
Academics, thank you. Yes, scholastics, of course. The main one, the biggest one, that makes up for 25%. And they look at our ACT and SAT scores and our grades and GPAs and things like that. So all throughout the local and statewide, those are things that they're looking at. And then nationals is just even harder.
Why did you even do this?
It's been in my family. It was formerly known as the Junior Miss program,
Sure.
which was really big in Owatonna especially. So my aunt Kristen Flannery at the time was the Minnesota representative, and she was the oldest in our family to do it, and that was really awesome to grow up with that influence. And then my mom and my other aunt also were in the program, and they loved their experience. So then my mom came back as a volunteer in the program, and she was the interview coach. So I've had lots of practice with interview, and interview is actually my favorite.
Wow.
So that was kind of my upbringing. I look forward to going to rehearsals with my mom. And then when it was my time, I was ready.
Wow. And playing the harp is also a pretty favorite thing of yours, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. That was your talent for that 90 seconds, I imagine? Oh,
no.
Yes?
Yeah, I'm kidding.
Oh.
Yes, it was. And I had a hard time choosing that 90-second piece just because I had to cut one of my favorite pieces into a couple chunks.
Okay.
But it was a really great challenge to have only 90 seconds to really convey to the audience emotions and to connect with the audience in 90 seconds, because usually I have longer than that. So even that was a fun stretch.
So you were in Mobile, Alabama for the national event here at the first part of summer. How did it go down there? What are some experiences and memories from that event?
It was a really fantastic 2 weeks. They definitely kept us on our toes. We were up and out of the door by 7 or 7:30 each morning, and we usually didn't get back until 9 or 10. And those days were full of community outreach events and social things. Even our meals were scheduled, and we'd be meeting with the Kiwanis Club for lunch, and then we might have dinner with the mayor and things like that. So really awesome experiences. Another of the cool things that they have is there's a Girl Scout troop that adopts each of the girls. So we get to meet with them, and it's fun to just be around older people and younger people, because for the majority of the week we're with 51 girls of exactly our age. So I'm glad that they sprinkled some of those in. One of my favorite days was the Be Your Best Self Day, which is DYW's outreach program. And I had the opportunity to go and volunteer at a place called United Cerebral Palsy. And it's a preschool for children with cerebral palsy, but there are also children with typical development in those same classrooms. And it was really awesome to get to hang out with those kids and to make little crafts and play with them, and just spend time with them. And they were all really incredible. So there was one little girl who took a special shining to me, as she was nonverbal and she couldn't walk without help. So a lot of the other people were intimidated by that, or they weren't quite sure how to, interact with her. And it provided for more of a challenge, but I was really grateful for the experience that I've had working with other children with disabilities just back in Owatonna.
Wow.
And that was really awesome, a rewarding part of the week. And then we had lots of rehearsals and things like that. Some days we would rehearse for 8 hours. So it was a lot of fun, but a lot of hard work too.
Now, I'll take a slight tangent here. You mentioned working with children like that in Owatonna. What do you do in town here working with kids of that ability?
Sure. Well, I babysit for kids with disabilities. So that's been one part that, that's something that captures my heart. And so it's really cool to be able to use that, hours away.
So rehearsals and everything for the event in Alabama, it was, after all, a competition between yourself and 50 others, 51 contestants all in all. How did the competition go? How do you feel about how you were judged, and how did that end up?
Yeah. I was really proud of how I did, because it's a marathon. It's, 2 weeks of rehearsals and then 3 nights of competition. So the first 2 nights were preliminaries and the last night was finals. And I just really felt like I represented myself and I represented the state of Minnesota well with the judges. And by the time it came to finals night, I was really okay with whether I was going to be in the finals or not. And I was just grateful for all the things that I had learned leading up to the competition and just during the competition. And the unique thing about Distinguished Young Women is that the focus really isn't on the competition. It's not on the last 3 nights. Even though we're preparing for that, the focus is really on equipping us with the tools for college and for our professional lives beyond that. So I had a blast with the competition, and I was not a finalist, but I was okay with that.
Were you able to sit back and enjoy the finals then, maybe with a different perspective?
Yes, yeah, it was really awesome because all of us just grew so close, because we're doing everything together. So it was an awesome time backstage with all the other girls just cheering on for our friends. And we had TV monitors where we could be watching what was going on stage, so.
Couple more minutes here with Abigail Hansen of Owatonna, the Minnesota Distinguished Young Woman, as you mentioned, formerly Junior Miss, so a program like that. Do you still have any duties or responsibilities as a Minnesota representative right now, moving through the summer and upcoming fall?
Unfortunately, not officially. I actually, the week after I got back from Mobile, I gave away the title because the state program was just a couple weeks ago. So now it's on to our next representative. But one thing that I was reminded in Mobile is that I will always be Minnesota's Distinguished Young Woman for 2017. There's nothing that will change that. And so having that kind of extra title, some people might be afraid of it, but really it has opened more doors for conversations and opportunities, and I'm sure that I'll use that more in the future.
Now, you've graduated now from high school. What is the plan for you?
I'm headed to the University of Toronto, yes, in Canada, and I'll be studying harp performance with an emphasis in entrepreneurship. So I'm excited because I just signed up for classes officially, and I am ready.
Wow. Yeah. So when does class start? And when you talk about entrepreneurship as part of this, do you have a vision as to where you hope this will go for you?
I head up to Toronto. Actually, it's a little bit further south, so I'm not heading up, but it's Canada. So I say up. I'm headed there the first week in September. And as far as entrepreneurship goes, I have always been an entrepreneur, just being around Owatonna. A lot of people probably know that. Just setting up a farmer's market or starting my own music studio, photography businesses. There have been so many things over the years. And so I look forward to kind of getting some professional training in that sense, to go with my practical application of it. And I see a need in the music world for something different, for for someone to take classical music and make it accessible to our pop culture world. So that is why I'm taking some business courses to go along with my music, and I hope to make a difference in that aspect.
Wow. Any performances coming up here in Owatonna that you can promote for yourself?
Yeah, sadly not, actually.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, it's kind of a somber thing to say. But I do look forward to coming back for Christmas and then for next summer. So.
All right. And Abigail, any other mention about the national event, anything else on the top of your mind that I didn't ask about that you'd like to throw out there as well as far as this distinguished young woman national competition you were at?
Yeah, well, I was just really impressed with how the program is built and how the focus is on creating leaders who are scholastically sound and who are talented and intelligent young women. And not all of us necessarily started out that way. You know, I mean, a lot of us had good foundations, but distinguished young women really gave us a boost. So I would encourage any high school junior girls to really look into the program because there's no entry fee and it's an amazing, amazing opportunity. And I didn't even realize how much I would learn from it. Wow. So it was, especially spending my time in Mobile, was an incredible opportunity.
Well, fun chatting with you. Hopefully we get a chance to do something like this again, and hopefully we all get to hear you play the harp again at some point. That's a lot of fun when you do that, and you do a great job with that, and I wish you well in Toronto.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Abigail Hansen of Owatonna, Minnesota's 2017, right? Distinguished Young Woman of the Year.